Hey Stunning Fam, this is Sarah back with another DIY video. Today you will be watching a tutorial of Brandon creating a one-wheel charging station. He made one for us and one for our cousin's family. The first step was measuring the one wheel. Based on the measurements, the charging station is 12 inches in length and 15 3/4 inches wide. Brandon used 3/4 inch sanded plywood. After measuring, Brandon cut and sanded the pieces of plywood. Next, he used a pocket hole crate jig to make screw holes on the length and width of the two pieces of plywood. These pieces will be the sides of the charging station. Next, Brandon drew lines based on the height and width of the fender and the wheel. Based on the measurements, the lines ended up being 9 inches apart from one another. He was able to fit 4 slots in this 49-inch tall charging station. He used a hole saw and a jigsaw to create the slots, and they are 3 inches wide. The slots have a wide enough gap for the pint and the XR. If you would like to create a charging station for a GT, you will have to widen the gap. You can measure the width of the footpad to determine how wide the gap needs to be. Once the slots were cut, Brandon used wood glue and screws to connect the two side pieces of plywood to the back of the charging station. Next, you will witness a stunning misadventure. Brandon originally cut the plywood too wide, so he had to cut it down using a table saw. Next, he used a Dremel and sander to smooth the edges of the slots. We have arrived at stunning misadventure number 2. The original measurements were off again, so Brandon used scrap plywood to create wheel clearance for the very bottom slot. The original length of the station was wrong, but 49 inches is the correct measurement, like I had previously stated. He used wood glue and a nail gun to add some extra height. Next, Brandon cut additional plywood for the bottom and the top of the charging station. In order to make sure the plywood was square, he used a temporary piece of plywood when gluing and nailing the top and bottom pieces of plywood. He removed the temporary piece as soon as they were nailed in. To make sure the charging station would be easy to move around, he installed 2-inch casters from Amazon. We are getting close to the end. The last few steps revolve around the charger holders. For this part, Brandon used plywood, an acrylic sheet, self-tapping drywall screws, super glue, and leftover foam. The scrap plywood was cut to the width of the back of the charger, and the scrap acrylic sheet was cut to the width of the side of the charger. Brandon pre-drilled holes in the acrylic sheet to make sure it wouldn't break. Next, he used self-tapping drywall screws and drilled them into the plywood. He used leftover toolbox foam to make sure the charger holder would have a snug fit. He super glued the foam to the acrylic sheet and used a piece of flat steel to keep it in place and allow it to dry. We are a lifestyle channel that features a variety of content from cooking to unboxing to anything that can be a DIY style project. We would really love it if you would like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you will be notified when we post another video. We hope that you all enjoyed this DIY video, and we hope that you can continue to stop by to watch our videos. We hope that you have a great week. We'll see you next time.